Hi, everyone. Thursday night, 9 o'clock. It's time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. It's been a turbulent week, I can tell you. Plenty of drama in the rugby. We've got international call-ups. I guess we should have seen those coming. But also 9 COVID cases last I saw for the Lions. And I can relate to that because we've had COVID cases here in my very household this week. I've been struck down and my daughter tested positive. So, yeah, all sorts of drama. But good news is I'm actually feeling quite a lot better today. So well enough to take on the show. And let's get things on the road because we've got a top-class panel in at the moment. And we won't call him top class. We've got another guy joining as well. You'll see him come in later, but we'll talk about that. Oraclepedia saying, send me a link. Oracle, I will send you a link now. I did send it by email. I'll send you on the phone when one of the other guys is talking. Just a shout out, welcome quickly to all of the guys in the live chat. I do enjoy this comment by Peter Paul. Brent Graham is joined by a team of rugby betting experts in the intro. Always makes him smile. Hopefully it always makes you nod and smile at the same time. But let's start off with the intros. I'm going to start off with the guy who's new to the show. We did play a little bit of video of his a couple of weeks ago, but it's Crow Tips on Twitter. I think it's at the Crow Tips on Twitter. And Chris Rowe, good to have you on the show. Welcome for the first time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brent. Good to be here. And yeah, to everyone on the chat, and hope I can add some value.
Excellent. And just to say to Brendan O'Connell, looking forward to having you on the show. I know you've moved from Dubai to the UK. And looking forward to having you on the show too. Just quickly before I introduce the conductor into the show, Chris, you're based in Poland at the moment. What's your background? How did you end up there? And how did you get into punting quickly?
Yeah, well, sure, quickly. Yeah, so I'm from Cape Town originally. When overseas for 2 years, came back and studied in Cape Town. And my first job was in actually sports content providing, really, for mobiles. And that's how I've always been sports mad, obviously. But from there, my company that I was with, we developed the first Java application for sports results. And from there, that's how I started punting, because we did a deal with Pumas at the time. And since then, that was when I started to place my first bets. And I probably placed a bet every day of my life for 15 years for my son. But from there, I actually went into the betting industry. I worked for Betway, I worked for BetVictor, and William Hill. So I actually ended up in Krakow because I had a contract at William Hill, funny enough, but I'm no longer with them at the moment. So punted my whole life, worked in the bookies, rugby is life, rugby and sports my life. So this is my hobby and passion. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. And let me introduce the conductor. Our conductor has been kind enough to find a spot in his diary for us, because most Thursdays, as you'll know, the lad's tied up with dating these days, but he's taking a break from a heavy schedule, having a little bit of a breather. Good of you to join us, Brendan.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, I decided to put Tinder off for a couple of days to make time for you boys. But thanks very much. Always lucky to be here and join you lads. And absolute ton of rugby coming up this weekend. So really looking forward to it. Almost wall to wall from Friday night to about Sunday night. So really looking forward to it. Some good games, and hopefully we can pick some winners.
Excellent. And Crow Tips, if you get nothing else out the show, Ruan Faria has now followed you on Twitter. So there we go. You've got at least one follow out of it. Perfect timing. This man knows how to make an entrance. He waits for me to introduce the other two, and then he pops in. He's smiling from cheek to cheek because he went 3-0 last week in Super Rugby Unlocked. He took Hein Dumont at Kart Critic to the cleaners. Welcome, Oracle Rugby.
How's it, Brent? I don't know if three times 200 is cleaners, but I'll take it.
Yeah, well, I have made an announcement on some of the sort of groups that I was going to put it in. Yeah, let's stick to 500 Rand increments, lads. Come on now, Hein. You can do better than that. I know Hein does his own Afrikaans show on a Tuesday night and a Thursday night with Yellow Cap, so he normally joins a bit late these days. But if he comes in, we'll make sure he sticks to that. But Gavin, we've got a big weekend of rugger ahead. We're going to get stuck into the Super Rugby Unlocked. I think you watched the show, so you saw me introduce Crow Tips. But obviously, Crow Tips, I know you've watched the show, so you definitely know Oracle.
I know, yeah, of course I do. The man, the legend, the myth.
The myth.
He got another follow. He didn't just get Ruan, he got me as well. Followed him straight away.
Got you as well. That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, I can tell you what the real myth is, what happened to Granny's pension over the last few years, because I've heard there's bugger all left of it, but that's another story. Gents, let's get into the rugby then. Super Rugby Unlocked is the first thing we're going to talk about. It's the 3 South African games. There's been quite a bit of team news and that about. I'm going to use the prices of Sunbet today, and it's Pumas up against Stormers, and I'm saying Sunbet, but you use prices wherever you guys find them. I hadn't had time with all the goings on this week to search across all the bookmakers. And Pumas up against the Stormers. And Oracle, you first up, Pumas against the Stormers. And here we got a big handicap. There was a -12.5 Stormers early in the week. I think it was Thoughts on Sports who picked up on that at Bet Exchange early in the week. Needless to say, I know a lot of guys jumped in on that. There was also a lot of action on Stormers minus 16.5. It now sits at 19.5. I haven't seen your video yet. I know they're out. And by the way, the links to your YouTube channel in the description box below. But I just know this is a plus for the Oracle. I'm almost convinced you're going to go plus here. What's the story?
Yeah, I am going plus, Brent. And there's a few reasons for it. You know, that last year, I think, was when you had the GG show. It was this particular weekend. Pumas were playing Western Province, and Gary had chucked out a big promotion or whatever it was. Anyway, I'd won $5,000. So now I'm sitting pondering what to do with this. The Pumas are playing Western Province Friday night, and handicap was 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, something like that, single digit. I actually went and stuck the whole $5,000 on the Pumas to win the game. They'd won the game before, that fixture they'd won before. And needless to say, they got absolutely thumped. I didn't stand a chance. And I've always told, and I know Brendan's watching at the moment, Brendan O'Connell, I'm talking about, not the conductor. If you back a horse and it comes last, you're actually okay. If it comes second by nose, you're pretty not happy. So getting thumped, I was all right with it. But honestly, the Pumas last week, I know that a lot of people went for the Griquas. Yourself, you also went for them. I just saw something in that Cheetahs game. They were decent in the second half. And last week they just never looked in trouble. I know it got down pretty close at the end, but the Pumas at the end of the day won the game. It was the fixture they targeted. They're back home now, and I got to say I've got nothing for the Stormers. My gosh, if they're going to have that Damian Willems kicking up front, he needs glasses or binoculars, or I don't know. He needs something, because he's just missing simple kicks. And it always reminds me of that kick that he had against I think it was the Georgians in the under 20. He took a 12-meter conversion in front of the poles, and he took I think it was about a 10-meter run up and got charged down. I used that as a lesson for my kid who's a fly-off, not to do silly things like that. But I don't think Damian Willems is any good kicker. I think there's far better guys that they can use to kick for poles, for that matter. I don't think he's a great number 10. I don't know. The Stormers, for me, they didn't do too much last week, but at the same time, I was very impressed with the Lions. If Damian Willems did get those two kicks in, the two easy ones that he did miss, they actually beat the handicap. So, you could argue that they missed the handicap by a couple of kicks, but at the same time, the Lions almost scored at the end. They nearly did. If they'd won that game, that would have been. I think there would have been a lot of unhappy punters. It's a small play for me, but honestly, this is the biggest handicap we've seen in this fixture. I know that it's a Stormers team and not a Western Province team, but still, it's a little bit too high at home. In fact, I'm going to suggest that this is the biggest plus I've ever seen the Pumas have starting at home. I don't know. If somebody knows any better than that, I don't know. But this just seems way too big. At 12.5, I didn't take a bet early in the week, but 19.5 for me, I'm definitely a Pumas punter.
Right, the Oracle's on the Pumas there. Peter Paul saying he'll go unders on points on this game. Interesting, because Nelspruit does tend to be a venue where I favour points. But let's go to Chris, give him his first game here, the Pumas up against the Stormers. 19.5, Chris. Did you put any tweets out on this game yet? Were you on early? And what do you think of the current cap?
Yeah, I haven't put any out yet. I know it opened up really early at the -12, which I would say I would have gone for. Then it moved to 17, which is what I was probably having it at. But I see now I can get it at -18. At the moment, I don't have money in it. But if I was to choose, I would definitely be on the plus. But I just feel that I agree that the Stormers don't have the form to show that they're going to beat it. But I do feel that they're going to be up for this game big time. And if they are, I would expect them to put the Pumas in a way. And like I said, Pumas game was last week. They were brilliant. They've actually been super impressive, bar in the first half against Cheetahs. But I just think Stormers going to be more prepared. Probably got more of a point to prove. So it'll be a big game. So I'm going to stick out of the handicap for now. If I could still get it lower, I would have. But I didn't get time to put it on at the minus handicaps.
If I give you a total points line of 60.5, overs or unders?
Unders, definitely unders.
Unders playing a green with Peter Paul there. Let's go to the conductor and see if he's got a firm view on this one. I mean, conductor, it seems I won't say the general consensus because Oracle's quite firm on the Pumas, but the early value might have been there with the Stormers, but 19.5 is getting big.
Yeah, Brent. I was fortunate enough to climb in on that minus 12.5. So I like that position where I'm at the moment. But I see on BetX you can get 17.5, and I still go minus 17.5 there. I hear what Oracle is saying about Damien Williams' kicking, which is atrocious at that level. As a professional athlete, you can't even sort of slot one or two. It's actually pathetic. So for that guy to be mentioned in the same vein as a Springbok player, I don't know. I don't know what guys are watching there. But I don't expect Stormers to go for posts tomorrow. If I watch the Pumas game against the Griquas smoked them in the rolling maul. They had 2 big rolling mauls against them, but they scored quite easily. So I expect any penalties to go right into the corner. I think Dobson will know that that's where they can beat them. It's always tough in Nelspruit. You got to bring a big bag of knuckles when you go and play up at the Mbombela, because Jimmy Sonas will get the guys fired up. They'll want to be very, very aggressive at ruck time, etc. So it is one thing. Jaco Kutsia on the bench come on for the Stormers, so I expect a stronger sort of a Jackal to come on in the second half. But no, I'm still quite confident on the minus 17.5 there.
Right, let's move on then. I don't have much to add on this game other than that Willemse kicking was pretty annoying for me last week as well. At halftime, I took a bet, Lions over 17 points. It was a bit of a panic bet because I'd already lost my Stormers halftime handicap. And I figured if Willemse put that last penalty over to go 9 points ahead, then the Lions would probably go upfield, get a penalty themselves and kick for posts, and I'd win my bet. Of course, they missed it. And then, as Gavin rightly pointed out, the Lions very nearly scored at the end anyway, and in my view, robbed a little bit by Rasta. They're not getting a penalty under the post. But anyway, nothing firm for me on this. I did take a bit of the 16.5 early in the week. Unfortunately, I did miss the 12.5. Conductor, will stay with you then for the Lions up against the Cheetahs. Now, this game, there's been a lot of movement because of the fact that there was first reports of 4 COVID cases for the Lions. Then we had reports of 9. I believe the teams have been released. I haven't seen them yet. I see on Sunbet, we got Lions plus 3.5, Cheetahs minus 3.5. I kind of expected a bigger plus for the Lions, given the team news. Is there bigger quotes around?
Brent, I haven't. Yeah, I also saw them. I saw it came out at minus 2.5, which I took on the Cheetahs. Look, I had a bit of Cheetahs outright, and I took a bit of Cheetahs minus 2.5 here. I actually lined up this game. I was actually quite keen to line up the Lions as a win. Yeah, I really thought they'd been plucky against the Sharks, and I thought they'd been plucky last week against the Stormers. So I thought they'd maybe hold the Cheetahs here, but missing guys. Willem Alberts is self-isolating. Yankees is out injured. I think Oudendal, is either injured or COVID. Missing Jaco Kriel, injured or COVID. So missing some, some first line players there. I can't see them holding a well drilled Cheetahs side there. I think the Cheetahs will put them away quite easily there. So I think what I might do is to sort of stick on that minus 2.5, and then maybe look for a late second half handicap on the Lions, because they do generally sort of tend to come quite hard in their last 15-20 minutes. But I'm quite bullish on the Cheetahs. It's their first string side. Obviously, just missing Ron Pino with that ACL. That might be the last we ever see of him in SA Rugby. So, but Tian Meyer is a very capable replacement there. I'm just waiting for the points lines. Obviously, 5 o'clock game in Joburg. Should be nice running rugby, even with a couple of guys missing. I think, Gianni Lombard at 10 will give the ball some air for the Lions. So I think there should be a couple of points.
Brady, who's watching at the moment, says Cheetahs to win and make a statement after being axed from the Pro 14. There's lots of talk about them looking to make a statement. I guess this will be a good opportunity for them. But I'm interested to hear what Oracle Rugby says on this one, because I know he's not really a team sheet kind of guy often. And I'm wondering if he isn't sensing a bit of value in the Lions here. But let's wait and find out from him. I'm just trying to anticipate your next move, Gav.
I just want to know what statement Brady's on about. They've already made a statement. They've beaten 2 handicaps. I actually incorrectly pointed out in my video earlier that the Lions were the only team that had beaten 2 handicaps. But this is actually I'm going to suggest a top of the table clash between the 2 handicap beaters. I know it's not a log point thing, but Lions have beaten both pluses, and the Cheetahs have beaten both minuses for that matter. Yeah, so this is an interesting one, and I know about this COVID and 6 or 9 or 12 players missing from the Lions. I don't know all of them. I mean, do me a favor. I know Yucca Creel and Giant Cheese and one or two other oaks, but that guy with the Italian name, Lombard Gino, whatever his name is, the number 10. For me, he's decent. They put him in the number 10. That should be good enough for me. But I got to tell you, you can take out 9 junior Lions, right? But when you take out an oak like Ruan Pienaar out of the Cheetahs, I say you rip the heart right out of the front of the stomach. I think the Cheetahs have lost more than 9 players by taking out Ruan Pienaar. I mean, we know Ruan Pienaar from the Sharks from South Africa. That guy's an absolute playmaker. And if, I've got to suggest that people watching the show will know what an impact he made when he came back to the Cheetahs. I mean, they were just dithering around mid-table Pro 14. Suddenly they're world beaters. They're taking everybody on. They're getting to playoffs. The guy's fantastic. I mean, Ruan Pienaar, do me a favor. You've lost Ruan Pienaar. Cheetahs are in a hell of a lot of trouble here. For me, I'm not going to take any of this +3 or +4 right now because I believe there's enough mugs to push that Cheetahs handicap right up to about 9 or 10. I'll just wait and I'll probably take my bet at about 27 minutes past 4 on Saturday afternoon and get a +11.5 lines. So that's what I'll do, and I'll take the 4-1 about the board at the same time. So I'm going to wait. I'm not taking anything yet. My worst line will be 4 here. If it drops below 4, I'll watch the game. If it goes higher than that, I'll just wait and watch it tick up and tick up and tick up. And I'll hammer into them just before the start of the game on Saturday afternoon. I think the Lions are huge value here at a plus. They've proved everybody wrong. Everybody thought they were going to get thumped in this tournament. That's not happened. This is a team that doesn't care about everyone else. This is a David versus Goliath, and they've lost a couple of likes. I'm not worried about it.
Right, Oracle Rugby very firmly on the plus, but wisely, I think, if you are looking to get into the Lions camp here, don't rush in. This handicap is not going to get any better for the Lions. It's only going to get pushed out. And I thought if Couch was on the show, we might be able to quickly get him to lay you like +4.5 or something there at the moment. But I wouldn't get rushing in there now. But Chris, interested to hear your view on this one.
Yeah, I got in early. I got Cheetahs at even money early in the week before all this started coming out. So I was pretty happy with that. Now, I can get 6 because I use overseas bookies. I know they're a few points out compared to what you guys see in South Africa, but at 6, I would definitely not take the Lions there. But I don't know. I just see a loose trio that's going to outplay them and a backline that is superior. I know Lions are going to be super desperate to win, and that's why it's going to be close. But I think the Cheetahs' overall quality will probably see them home. So I'm still on the Cheetahs, firmly on the Cheetahs, and got money on it.
Right, so we got 2 in the Cheetahs camp. I must say, I think the Cheetahs, I'm willing to get involved at -3.5. I see it's 8 to 10 at Sunbet now. I do think that the Cheetahs, I was probably leaning in their direction anyway, but certainly with this team news, I'm quite firmly in the Cheetahs camp there on that one. Let's go into the last game. Kristen, I'll start with you here. Bulls up against the Sharks. We've got the Bulls actually underdogs at home. Yeah, I see there's definitely been quite a bit of money here for the Sharks because when I was writing one of the previews this week, I think I had the Sharks at about 23 to 20. I see 6 to 10 the Sharks, 5 to 4 the Bulls, and the handicap here, Bulls +2.5 at home. Now, Chris, the Bulls have been disappointing so far in the Super Rugby Unlocked, but should they be underdogs at home against the Sharks?
No, because I've got Bulls. I got them. I got them at -1 and on the board. So if Sharks arrive and they play the rugby that we've all seen them play, of course they can win this game. And I think it is probably a toss at the end of the day. But I just feel the Bulls, we've been pumping them up for ages. They have got the quality. You can see in patches when they put it together, they're going to be a massive force. And I just think Jake White will get them up. I think this game they will be up for it. I think Sharks, they played well for 30 minutes against the Lions, but okay, very well, properly put them away. So if they come with that form, of course. But I just feel at home, I've watching a lot of these games. I go between 1 and 12 Bulls, Sharks at the home side. I've been quite lucky. Made a lot of money on that result. So again, I'm on a Bulls 1 to 12 here, very close game. Got them at -1 and on the board. So I'm on the Bulls camp for this week, even though of course Sharks can come and win that game easily.
Well, Ruan Farees also with the Bulls, and I see an earlier post that I missed, Ruan saying +6.5. I think the Lions at WSB. So Gavin's prediction that handicap is going to go out, that pays to wait, is certainly looking like a good one. Let's go to the conductor, though. and get his views on this game. And just before I bring the conductor in, while he's talking, I'm going to bring up some very good news for Oracle Rugby up on the screen when he sees joined the show. Conductor, what do you make of the Bulls game?
Brent is definitely the trickiest one of, for me, the three to call. But I'm going against everyone here. I prefer the Sharks. I think the Bulls sold an absolute dummy on that first sham of a game that rugby fan rubbish. Because, I think everyone thought it's a new era. And then that game against Greek was actually showed that was right back to top. They kicked away possession. I didn't watch much of the Bulls Cheetahs game, but I just saw the comments. Didn't look like they played very well. Sabine Corsey's back for the Sharks. James Fenter is back for the Sharks. Two very big key players. I think at altitude, the Sharks 10. Sorry, I just forgot his name right now. He'll enjoy with a big boot. He'll enjoy the altitude there. So I like the Sharks there. I still think I can't have Stedman Khans and Cornel Hendricks as centers with Daniel Creer at 15. I can't live with that. You can say about what Jake White. He's not a magician. He's not going to turn water into wine. So you can only do so much with what he's got to work with. And I don't rate Khans as a good center. He's good in sevens where he's got a bit of space. But that game against the Greek they were both pathetic. So I like the Sharks there. I think as Hein pointed out, they'll want to make up for that loss at Loftus, and the Sharks don't feel Loftus. There's never any crowd there in any case, so it won't make much of a difference this weekend with nobody being there. So no, Sharks at 9-10 has my money.
Right, Oracle, your views on this one?
I'm 100% with Brendan. In fact, I can't believe anybody is touching the Bulls this weekend. I'm amazed that this is not minus 19.5 Sharks with all the money that's coming for the Sharks. I'm blown away that anybody's touching this Bulls team. I really am. I'm going to tell you, don't even bother with a 9-10. I know I put it on my video earlier, but the more I think about it, this is the kind of game where you can get a massive, massive price. I'm going to tell you to take minus 14.5, and you can probably get it at about 6-1 or 5-1 or something like that. That's the play. I think the Sharks team wins by 20. I think this is race over. Never mind Jake White. I saw Garstein putting there, the Oak from Stokers putting there water into wine. If he could turn water into wine, he wouldn't be working for the Bulls. And I got to tell you, Jake White, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that other Oak, the Australian Oak, won us that World Cup all those years ago. I think Jake White was just clever at employing people to help him with the right decisions. I don't know. I think this Bulls team's got a long way to go. I don't think they win another game in this tournament. Yes, they might beat the Pumas, but that's about it. They won't beat anyone else.
Right, and I'm pleased you mentioned Stokers Arms, because we, of course, had another 500 Rand Stokers Arms voucher to give away, sponsored by Ari. And it was won last week. I don't know if he's watching live. I haven't seen him comment. Stephen Marks. But, Stephen, if you're watching the recording otherwise, just drop me an email, brent@goodforthegame.co, and you can claim your prize. It is transferable, but you can also hang on to it for as long as you want as well. If you're going down to Durban in the next year or two, you can just let us know that if you don't want to use it and you don't know who to transfer it to, of course, we can make another plan. So just let me know. But well done on winning that one. Gents, that brings us to the end of Super Rugby Unlocked. But we got this week the return of the Six Nations as well. I originally thought there were more games this week, but I see it's just the one Ireland up against Italy. We've got a big handicap here at 28.5 points. And Conductor, let me start with you on this one. I know, I think you were quite firmly in the plus camp here. I know Ireland, if I'm not mistaken, have to go for a bonus point, but that is 4 converted tries, that handicap.
Yeah, Brent. I originally was in the handicap on the Ireland handicap there, plus 28. No crowd in Dublin. Obviously the Irish guys have just got together. Andy Friend has chosen quite a few, different combinations, etc. And I thought if Italy, sort of presents some sort of decent team, I'd be quite confident in the plus 28.5. I've taken cover at minus 27 to basically cancel out the bets. Very, very inexperienced Italy side. The pack is quite inexperienced. Garbisi is 20-year-old who's only played minimal Pro 14 rugby. He's starting his first international. So, even with all the new combinations for Ireland, guys like Bundy Aki and Gary Ringrose, I've watched this movie before. They just cut through weak Italian tackles and dot down under the post. I can see that minus 28 What I've done is I've cancelled out that bet. So I'm going to take second half handicap minus 15.5 at Sunbets. I think the Italians might just keep it tight the first half. Guys like Pelledri, Bramstein, they'll put in some big tackles and things like that. But I can see the Irish cutting loose second half to get that bonus point, which I need. If they get that bonus point, I think that catapults them to the top of the log. So I was hoping for a more experienced Italian side, but at this point in time, I think the Benetton side named this week would probably beat the Italian side.
Right, let's go up to Chris and get his views on it. Then this one, Chris, what do you think? Are you one of the guys in the plus camp here?
No, I'm think for me the handicap's a bit high. If I haven't decided whether I'm going to play it, but like conductor was saying, I think Ireland are going to be really desperate to win this game. Want to win it. Italy, I've been burned on like the same conductor, 28-29, and it ends up one point either side of it. So this game and Italy is one I don't generally get involved in, even though it is very high. So, but if I was to call neck on the block, I would go minus. I think I agree. I think it will start off tight, but I think Ireland will eventually wear Italy away and probably end up with a few tries in the last 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, this reminds me of the sort of game where, and we'll talk Pro 14 now, but like a few weeks ago, I think some of us went Dragons plus 28.5 against Leinster. And it's one of those things, you think it sounds like a hell of a big handicap until the good team get going. And suddenly you realize that 28 points can go in a flash. Well, no doubt one thing, we can get a good weather forecast from Dave in Dublin. We got I don't think he's online now, but we've got quite a few guys who watch from Ireland. Chris, did you want to add something there?
Yeah, with the handicap, like you're right, it's got a similar feel, but also in that game, Leinster were kicking their goals left, right, and centre from the corner everywhere, and they were missing. And it ended up being 6 points off. So maybe on an average kicking day, that handicap still came in. And of course, if Italy get 2 tries, the handicap becomes quite difficult. But yeah, I would just say I think Ireland are going to put in a big performance.
Right, Peter Paul just coming in and making a point. The Pumas DHL Stormers is 54.5. Well, we won't chat about that right now, but let's mull on it and perhaps chat about it at the end of the show, because I can tell you which way I'm going at 54.5, and it ain't unders on that game. I know the boys have said it about 60 to unders, but I think we're going to get points down there in Nelspruit. But let's bring the Oracle in. Oracle, I'm not sure. Have you done a Six Nations video? Have you looked at this one?
Yeah, I did. I just want you to clarify, because I think there's quite a lot of people that don't really understand the position of the Six Nations right now. So either of the three of you, I'm guessing Brendan definitely knows. Maybe you can just tell us exactly what the situation is. Everyone's talking about Ireland needing to get a bonus point here. What is the standing right now? Sorry, I don't have any log in front of me, and I'm pretty sure other people want to know as well.
I'll tell you in a second.
Ireland are 4 points behind England and France.
So Ireland 9 points, England, France both on 13. So if Ireland get a bonus point win, then they go top of the log.
Okay, and there's one more game after this for everybody, including Ireland. So Ireland got 2.
If Ireland and Italy played this game, everyone would have played 4 games.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So that's.
I think that that provides a lot of motivation. I'm not a big Andy Friend fan, but it does provide a lot of motivation, and a lot of the guys in that Ireland makeup are Leinster boys, and I think that brings through that Leinster ethos through to that main team. So the defense will be good. So I think that's I can see them getting the bonus point try there.
Right, just bringing the log up there for those who do want to have a quick
look at it. And also the bonus point situation over there is scoring 4 tries to get a bonus point. It's not the same as Super Rugby of beating the other team by 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure Ireland will get their 4 tries. I just have a feeling, this is big, and I'm not going big on this game, but the plus does feel right to me. It just feels a little bit too much. It's winter over there now. It's proper winter. It's not this February, March, summer going into winter. Sorry, winter going into summer. I don't know. That Ireland. No, I'm not strong on this one, Brent. It just seems too much for me. That's all.
And just first games after a while, I just worry that we've seen that, especially South Africa, even New Zealand took maybe 1 or 2 games. The Pro last week as well. The first games are not as high standard as they've been before, and I just feel there's a problem. This could be an easier scrap, but I think the motivation kicks in, and Italy and Ireland wants it, and Italy are down, then obviously they'll power them over. But I've seen many of these games and I've switched over at half time because it's just.
Honestly, I think that the Ireland scoring 4 tries will probably be quite easy. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Ireland get 45 points in this game, but I don't think it's that difficult for Italy to get, 15 to 20 points. So for me, it'll probably be close, but I don't know.
I see this as an opportunity to take the Six Nations from under the noses. So I can imagine that they're going to be going flat out for it. So,
Well, here's an interesting strategy from Chris. Halftime unders on the Ireland game, and because he doesn't expect Italy to score a lot of points, and I tend to agree with you there, Chris. And Ireland will just be looking for the 4 tries. So sort of taking the view that Ireland are not going to be going for the posts, as Italy are probably going to concede quite a few penalties. So interesting strategy on that, going unders at points at halftime. I don't know if anyone's seen any points on this one. Conductor, have you seen anything yet?
For Ireland, Italy?
Yes. Probably.
There's hurricanes coming, so they're going to wait for that.
52.5, I think. For Ireland, Italy was 52.5, and I quite like that. I might go, I can't see Italy scoring too many, to be quite honest. I think the Irish defence should be quite good, yeah.
I think if you're saying 52, that means that Ireland are about 38 or 39, possibly 37. I don't know. That sounds the better bet to me. Is rather to go high on Ireland than to go high on the game. I don't know.
Or overs on Ireland tries, perhaps something like that. We can have a look.
Yeah,
here's Brady bringing up some points for us here. There we go, Gavin. 40.5 Ireland and 12.5 Italy.
Yeah, that 12.5 looks value as well. I don't know. Well, I suppose they both do. I don't know. But it's the weather. It's the weather. They tell me there's hurricanes in that place.
Mad Dog just coming in and confirming the odds there as well. Okay, guys, that's the Six Nations. 5.5 tries. That's the one I like. If that's Ireland's line there, Mad Dog, I like Ireland over 5.5 tries. I think that's a good bet.
I think that's the right way to look.
Chris, you like that one as well, right?
I agree with that.
Excellent. Cool, man. Well, that brings us to the end of the Six Nations because, of course, there is only the one game at this stage. And we're going to move on now, talk a little bit. There's plenty of other rugby, and we'll go through that. Oracle, are you hanging around? Do you want to contribute at all? Look, we're going to talk.
I was just going to say there's 2 other games this weekend. There's Scotland are playing Georgia, which is also sitting at around about 25, 26 points. I like the plus there. I think it's a little bit too much. And in fact, looking at the stats a little bit earlier today, I think Scotland have only beaten that handicap once against them. Coming out of COVID, first game for both teams, I think the Georgian plus is a little bit of value. But honestly, I'm not strong on anything this weekend except I definitely like the Sharks and I'm definitely going to like the Lions at around about plus 10.5. So, yeah, you said somebody else was coming to the show. I'm assuming it's Brendan O'Connell because I saw him on YouTube earlier as opposed to Facebook. He's been watching us on Facebook for all these years.
Yeah, he enjoys watching on Facebook. We've got a couple of the regulars. In fact, Dave also found us on Facebook as well. And we do go out live, Facebook, Twitter, and, Twitter through Periscope and also, of course, on YouTube. But, Gav, so I know you say you don't like anything too strong except that you were tipping the Sharks like minus 404.5 points earlier. But anyway, are you going to depart now? We're going to go through both 14
I'm
and
off.
Meet. You're welcome to stay. But Gavin Cohen, Oracle, thanks very much. You can get his videos down below. There's a link to his YouTube channel. Gav, thanks very much.
No problem. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Excellent. That was Oracle Rugby. Link to his video down below. And you can also get a link there to the betting Stigs lines, which have recently gone up on Good for the Game as well. I actually got it up just before the show. I haven't had a chance to even send the guys the connection yet. Evening to Dave. Dave, just been talking about you. Good that you could join us and, share your thoughts in the live chat there. Guys, we're going to move on to Pro 14. And I'm pleased I've got you guys on the show now because I know both of you like your Pro 14 rugby. I also know there's been quite a bit of movement in the week as far as the Pro 14 goes. Once again, I'm just going to pull up the lines here. We go through the games. There's obviously there's a number of Pro 14 games. We'll then talk about the Premiership final and Mitre 10 Cup. If you don't have any views on a game, by all means, just pass. We won't spend any time talking about anything that we don't have firm views on. So, Chris, I'm going to start with you. Leinster up against Zebra, and it's 36.5 points. I know this line moved from about 31.5 to the current 36.5.
Well, to be honest, I'm on the fence because I've been jumping over each for the last couple of days. I was actually on the plus 32 when it came out, and now I'm completely not confident on the minus 37 either. So for me, it just feels far too high again. look, it's team. I don't know if anyone's seen any of these players who are playing. It's second, third ranked teams. So for me, when these teams play, it's quality on the field that offers a lot of the time makes the big difference, right? So for me, it just feels of the unknown. Look, it looks like a complete mismatch. You think, sure, yeah, Leinster's going to put it away, but Zebra can come, and we don't know what their second team is like, and they could put a dogfight up. So I say I was on the plus 32, then I'm not come the minus 37. So at the moment, I'm on the fence. I'm probably going to stay away because I probably had it at about 36 anyway.
Okay, conductor, yourself on this one?
Brent, yeah, I took a bit of a bit of minus 25.5, the alternative handicap on Leinster, and a couple of multis, which would have been the 4 to 10. I took a little bit of minus 31.5. I won't be getting involved at 36 or 37.5. Yeah, it just takes one small period of quiet rugby, 10-15 minutes of reset scrums, etc. to kill it. And Craig Evans is one of my least favorite referees. He comes from the sevens arena, and he irritates the hell out of me. I can just see myself shouting at the TV, no end, to hurry up on the scrums and get it going. I mean, at 37, you need to be scoring quite regularly, throughout the entire game. So, even though I think Leinster should cover that cap, it's just, once one lucky try from Zebra basically kills it. So I won't be getting involved in that.
No, I agree. Completely agree.
Let's stick with you. Just to mention, I didn't realize it was the friendly this week. I've heard everyone talking about France v Wales. I assumed it was like for the following week, Six Nations or something, because I hadn't looked at the fixtures. So we'll chat about that after the Pro 14 as well. Sorry to say goodbye to Oracle before we really got into that one. But let's stay with you then, conductor. Benetton up against Scarlets. We've got Benetton slight favourites here at minus 1.5.
Brent, I think, I jumped in the wagon with all the other lads. I thought Scarlets would be value here, but I didn't realise that Benetton were actually named quite a decent side. Divinocha, Keatley, Benvenuti, Ioane, they've got some really decent players at home in Treviso. I'm not a massive fan of that. I don't really trust Scarlets. They've just been down too many times. I know Liam Williams is back for them at 15. They got guys like Kalamafoni, Blade Thompson, Isaac Azim. So they've got some good players there, but that game's too tight. So I took Scarlets outright, and then I took some Benetton plus 3.5. Just almost cancel that bet out. I can see that game going either way. Benetton, Italian side, sometimes they've got Eli Snyman and the other South African as well at 4 and 5. So, more than a decent side to push Scarlets away there. So I think they could actually win that game. So for me, I wouldn't throw mad money around there.
Chris, yourself?
This for me is one of my favorite bets of the week on Treviso. I got them at plus 3 earlier on the week, quite close to 1.8. So I'm firmly on them. I kind of started to get doubt when I saw the guys going towards Scarlets, but I've been confident and stay confident there. One of my best.
Okay, Mad Dog saying Treviso strong for this game, looked sharp against Ulster and Leinster. Let's stick with you, Chris, for the next one. Ospreys up against Glasgow. Yeah, we got Ospreys plus 3.5.
No, I'm not much on this one. Gonna stay out of it.
Right. Let's stick with you then. I'm going to go 2 games here, and then we'll come back for the conductor. Ulster up against the Gwent Dragons. Anything for you there? 14.5 Ulster favourites.
Well, I like Ulster, but I think that handicap's too high. So potentially I'll be on the plus on that one when it comes around. So I'm going to watch the line a bit. Plus for me.
Great, conductor. Let's talk about those 2 games. First of all, Ospreys up against Glasgow. Ospreys plus 3.5.
Yeah, Brent, I'll have to have a look at that Ospreys side versus Glasgow. I don't know, who's all. I haven't actually had a chance to have a look at the internationals, who's all gone, who's all left, etc. I think you can only lose money there if you're going to try and call somebody confidently there. Glasgow lose a lot of players to the Scottish side. Ospreys don't lose as many, but the guys that they do lose are quite key. Guys like Alan Wynne Jones, etc. But I'll be honest, I haven't got a feel on that game. I haven't even no feel on that game. But on the Ulster game, I've taken minus 14.5. I expect quite a good Ulster side to start there at home. The Dragons have lost their really, really key players, guys like Nick Tompkins, the really, really sort of key players for them. I think they've lost 4 players. One guy did come back, so they lost 5 originally. One guy came back from the Welsh training setup, Jordan Trainer, or so, I can't remember exactly. Sorry, just can't remember exactly, but he's back. But for me, the guys that Dragons are missing are far more key than the guys Ulster missing. Ulster will still put out a really good side, and also basically, were Pro 14 finalists. So, they'll still have guys like Ian Madigan. For me, a guy like John Cooney at 9 will have a big, big point to prove not being included in the Ireland side. You've got guys like Marcel Coetzee. So some very, 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 quality players. And, without those key guys that Dragons have lost, I think they might take a bit of a hiding.
Well, see, I was waiting for that. I was on the plus, but yeah, that's why I'm waiting. I haven't put anything on yet, but when I'm more to look at it, because I like to put my bets on as late as possible. I try to take as much information, even weather, even build-ups. My way I look at things, I pick up things and it's worked for me. But I just thought 14 was high in the beginning, but now that I've got the team sheets, you're probably conductors right, probably minus 14 sounds right, but I don't have money on it just yet.
Right, Chris, let's go through the last 2 games with you. Edinburgh up against Connacht. Here we got Edinburgh minus 5.5.
Not confident on that either. Probably Edinburgh, but not confident.
Okay, and the last one, Munster up against the Cardiff Blues. And here we got Munster minus 13.5.
I really like Cardiff on the plus here. I think with the teams that will be put out, I think Cardiff are shown to be doggy, like get in the trenches. I think Munster will fight, but I think Cardiff will hold out that handicap. I'm quite strong on that one as well.
Great. On to the conductor for the last 2 games. Edinburgh minus 5.5 conductor.
Brent, I quite like Connacht. Sorry, man. I must apologise to my Dublin friend Dave Cooney. Sorry, it was Andy Farrell for Ireland coach, not Andy Friend. Andy Friend is the Connacht coach. I still, they've lost quite a few players to the Ireland side more than normally. I was quite keen to line up Connacht here, but I'll be honest, on both those games, I've got no strong feel. Munster obviously lose quite a couple of players, so no strong feel on either of those games, unfortunately.
Right, let's quickly touch on the other international taking place. I think Gavin covered the Scotland-Georgia game there quite extensively. France-Wales, anything you guys want to add on that one? I didn't realize that was actually coming up this weekend. I see France minus 5.5. I think there was minus 2.5 earlier in the week. I did see. Conductor, did you grab some of that?
Yeah, so I opened it minus 2.5. I took quite a bit of that. I listened to Fabien Galtier. Sorry, Brady. I don't mean to murder his name. Fabien Galtier. He said he wants continuity. The defense coach, who's been pointed out many times, I just completely forgot again. For France, has been working wonders for them, and for me, France is a team on the up. If I look at their provincial sides, guys like Toulouse, really, really sort of on the upward trend. Some of the guys for Wales, guys like Dan Biggar, he's played very poorly for Northampton the last couple of games. Maybe his international, game will maybe reignite him a bit, but he's been very poor. Reece Webb hasn't had too much rugby. To me, there's a couple of passengers in that side. George North, I just don't know if he's still got the goods anymore. To me, that France side is becoming better and better and better. I think they've only made 3 changes, and I think for Wales, I think they made 9 changes or something like that since their last game. So for me, there's a lot of continuity in the French side. My only concern is a guy like Teddy Thomas. He can really be amazing or absolutely rubbish, but for me, minus 2.5 is like gold.
Right, Chris, yourself, that game, anything to add?
Absolutely concur. I'm very, very strong on the French here as well. I'm going to wait for weather and build up as well to see points. I might be going over points. The last couple of games has been overs. And before that, for a while, it was a tight, low-scoring game. But I just feel this game, for what it's worth, will be some tries in it as well.
Chris just mentioned my long-term France punts. I think I wrote an article a while ago about putting 50 Rand on a week. I must say I haven't stuck to it religiously, but I can tell you the time when I started, France was sort of still double figures around 9-10 to 1. I think they're into about 6 to 1 for the World Cup now. I haven't checked recently, but still very confident that they'll go very close to winning the tournament at home. In fact, I'm calling with confidence that a Northern Hemisphere team or South Africa will win the next World Cup. I'm going to brass both New Zealand and Australia. Right, guys, let's talk about a Mitre 10 Cup because we've still got that to go. While you guys are chatting about that, I'll bring some of the other comments up on the Pro 14. But we've got some fixtures to get through there, and I'm going to start with you, conductor, when I can quickly find them on Sunbet's site because I've got so many fixtures open at the moment. And let's start off with Otago Northland. And here we got Otago minus 7.5. I think they were a bigger minus until the team news came out.
Yeah, Brent, I think they were sitting at about 14.5, probably about a day ago. Then the news broke that Joshuani and Karoi went on a booze cruise and when it shouldn't have. So apparently they rocked up to training drunk or something like that, or they got caught up for drinking or something like that. So they've both been booted. So Simon Hickey's brother, Jono, the lesser known Hickey, Jono, he'll be playing at 10 tomorrow. So there's a couple of new faces there for the Highlanders. For Otago. I took plus 12.5 on Northland. I think they'd be good value for that. I'd probably still take it a little bit to plus 7.5. I think Otago will win the game, but when you've got you're scrummy playing at 10, it's not an ideal setup for them. And I think Northland might smell a bit of blood in the water. I think they've actually been good value this season. Northland, they've improved quite a bit.
Right, I'm going to stick with you for the first 3 games, so we'll run through them for continuity's sake. Bay of Plenty against Canterbury. Yeah, we got 5.5 points plus on the home team.
Sorry, Brent, 5.5 points.
Yeah, Bay of Plenty plus 5.5.
Sorry, man, I haven't looked too much into that game. I'd probably be going on the Canterbury there, and I see Cullen Grace, and I think Mitch Dunshea has been released back to the Canterbury side, if I'm correct. So I'd probably look at a minus 5.5. I haven't seen the team sheets, but I'm always very wary of Canterbury with my favorite player in the world, the number 10. I also can't remember his name now. But yeah, in Inari at 9, and the number 10 from Christchurch Boys High is pretty useless. So I'd probably look at Bay Penny being a bit disappointing for me. So I'd probably look at the Crusaders minus there.
Excellent. I'm sure Handicap Estania will be impressed. You can tell us that he was playing for Christchurch Boys High. It's impressive stuff. Let's go one more game for you before we move on to Chris. Hawke's Bay up against Manawatu. Hawke's Bay minus 19.5.
Yeah, Brent, I like Hawke's Bay on the minus. They're not massive. For me, they got a big pack. They're a good side. I might take Smalls minus. It's not a bet I've looked too much into. I'll also wait for the team sheets. But yeah, I mean, I think Lua Mape was one of their sort of key players from Manawatu, and he's obviously not there anymore. So yeah, probably a Hawke's Bay minus or Hawke's Bay points over. I'll wait for the lines to look at that.
Right, Oraclepedia just reminding me that I'm up a grand. I'd actually forgotten about that, Oracle. Thanks very much. Chris, let's run through those games with you. Otago, Northland.
So also heavy on Northland, probably my bet of the weekend as well, early on the week at plus 12. I got it at plus 10, but still very, very confident on that. I think Otago win 1-5. So Northland plus 10 is exactly the same feeling as Conductor was on. Canterbury, well, I love Canterbury, but they've broken my heart a few times this season. Bay of Plenty, I'm sure they played well last week, but it was against Manawatu, so they were impressive. But I can't write off Canterbury, so if I'm going to play, I would definitely be sticking to Canterbury, and -5 is probably decent. I can see Canterbury possibly still winning between 8 and 12. Nothing on the Hawks Manawatu game. Not going to touch it for me.
Right. Well, you can keep going. Then we'll go through the next 4 games with you, and then go over to the Conductor. North Harbour against Auckland. Yeah.
So for me, Auckland's my team. they were chomping at the bits. I could just tell that last week's performance was going to come in, and I made some money on that because I could just see that happening. I really like their team. But North win at home on a sunny day at Eden Park, I'm not surprised that happened. But again, away at North Harbour, I think they might struggle again, so it might be tighter. So I'm going to go under points on this game probably. Tasman Southland, I think sure. So Tasman will probably definitely bounce back. Southland got not much going on for them. And a lot of Southland games are under points, but I have a feeling this game might go overs as well. Counties Manukau, I actually got a plus 17. I think they've gone down. I don't know what you can see now. I haven't checked what they are now.
The Counties are on plus 12.5 against Wellington.
I got plus 17, and that was also quite strong for me beginning of the week. So I'm quite happy with that.
Right, and then the last game I've got here is Waikato Taranaki. I don't know if you mentioned that one. 10.5 points Waikato.
Yeah, not yet. I want to go Waikato. At the moment, that's where I'm leaning towards, but I don't have money on it. But if I end up going, I think Waikato at home will do the business like they finished up the game the other day as well. They're looking quite good, Waikato.
Right, conductor, you could take us through the last game then, starting with North Harbour, Auckland at plus 5.5 North Harbour.
Just to answer, I saw there was a question from Oracle. I'd probably take a guess. The number 14 for Fiji would probably be Joshua Tuasova. I don't know. We'll take a bet on that. I'm pretty sure you'll start at the 14 for Fiji. So, sorry,
Oracle,
the first game.
You do know every player in the world. No, the first game.
What was
North Harbour, Auckland, North Harbour plus 5.5.
Battle of the Bridge there, Brent. I quite like North Harbour on the plus 6.5, and I agree with what Chris is saying there on the unders there. I think it's going to be a very tightly contested game. I saw comments from Brent Graham. He said they're very much up for this game. I know, I did an absolute fortune on that Tasman Auckland game, and well done, Chris, for calling that. I thought Tasman would sort of keep it a bit closer, but sure, they were blown away there. Mitch Hunt had no clue with the ball. Neither did their 9. He was absolutely pathetic. But yeah, Auckland had a stellar game. I wonder how much that took out of Auckland. They really looked like they put a lot of efforts into that Tasman game to sort of get that one up on them to say, listen, they're probably the best side in the Premiership. But that Battle of the Bridge should be quite tough. I like the plus 6.5 on Auckland, and I like I don't know what the line is. I haven't had a look at the line, but I'll probably take unders on that line as well. I don't like taking unders on Mitre 10 Cup, but I think it's going to be very tightly contested.
Right, the next one was Counties against Wellington, plus 12.5 Counties.
Same as there, Chris. Again, I think in the other group as well. I think we all sort of jumped on that plus 17 with the news of Duplessis Karifi being called up to the All Blacks. He's quite he's very influential in that in the Wellington side. He gets a lot of turnovers, gets the guys G'd up, etc. There's still a good couple of players there for Wellington. But at the home and Counties, they've got some good players, Chris Kurandrani and guys like that. So that Slade chap, I think they should be able to get 1 or 2 tries and keep it respectable. Wellington's lost a lot of players, so I quite like the plus there. Now on the plus 12.5, I'd maybe go smalls on the plus, but I wouldn't throw anything away there.
Tasman minus 24.5, big capless against Southland.
Yeah, I'll take Tasman on the minus there. I think they are going to bounce back. Southland have been playing that same side for the last couple of weeks, and I just think they are going to get a bit of fatigue. And Tasman are quite a proud side. They've got enough, ammo to get the job done there at home. I expect them to cover that cap quite easily, actually. And
then the final one, Waikato Taranaki.
Yeah, I like Waikato though. They've probably, to me, one of the better sides at the moment. Playing really, really good rugby. I haven't seen the Taranaki team yet as yet. A guy like Bashir is still so deadly for Taranaki, but the rest of the cattle, just not good enough against a really good Waikato side. So I like the minus 10.5 there, and I think the Mulu men will get the job done.
Excellent, great. Well, we'll sum up all the best bets at the end, but one more game we've got to still talk about, and I'll go up to Chris for the start of this one. Exeter against Wasps. From what I read, that this game was almost not going to take place, and that I think the Bristol Bears were going to possibly come in for the Wasps due to COVID, but it's priced up here, and we got Exeter, the handicap I'm looking at Sunbets minus 11.5, Chris.
Yeah, that's what I got too. So I'm in a very favorable position for this game, actually, because at the start of the restart, after the first 2 games, I lumped on Wasps to win the whole thing at 8-1, and had a decent stake on that. So I've hedged. I'm in perfect position. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the game because I'm going to be collecting in this game no matter what, and I'm happy with the returns. Would have been even more of a return of what I probably would have bet on in this game. But in terms of the game itself, I'm still back in the Waspies. I think Exeter, they're going to win probably, but Wasps are going to be there. But forget about COVID, and sports teams are doing this week in, week out and still winning. So I'm playing all right. I think the Wasps are going to put a brilliant game, but Exeter probably win it. But that's how I see it playing out.
Wasps will beat the Cap. Conductor, interested in your views, because I see we have had some differing views on the forum on this. And just on that note, you can also find a link to the rugby thread on the Good for the Game forum down below. What do you think? What do you think of this one? Because they are missing a lot of players, but guys saying, hey, they're still going to beat the Handicap.
Yeah, Brent, I'm always so skeptical. I mean, if I look, I'm always very nervous with regards to missing X amount of players. We just don't know which players are missing. I mean, I'll wait until that team sheet comes out. One of the guys said that from the guys he spotted at training were all the key guys. I mean, a guy like Jack Willis, if he was out, I would probably be very nervous. But if you give me 80% of that Wasps side, I think it's Lee Blackett, the Wasps coach, was saying, it's been a bit of a tricky situation with regards to training, etc. But they'll definitely be the fresher side. I don't know how much celebration Exeter did after that Racing game. The top 40, that's Champions Cup game. So, I don't know how much celebrating, how much beer drinking they've been doing there. But, my gut feel is, I mean, they're not going to be as ruthless as they probably would have been if this was their only final. Wasps have got nothing to lose. They are a bit of a fresher side. So, at 10.5, 11.5, if Wasps can come up with a decent side, that'll definitely see my money. Wasps' loose trio is very good. They'll front up with guys like Joe Launchbury. They're not going to take us backward step to that big Exeter pack. Exeter will take the win there. I quite like Wasps. To me, they've been one of the best sides in the Premiership bar Exeter. So to me, it's still a close game. You give me 10.5, 11.5 points in the final of any of a Premiership, and I'll take Wasps there.
Excellent. Well, let's move on to the best bets now. Gee, I didn't realize how many games we had to cover tonight. It's been a marathon session, and plenty of bets out there. So I'm going to ask you guys your best bets. I'm going to go around to each of you, and let me start. I'll ask you for your best bet on the weekend straight, and then while the other guys giving the best bet, also, and then come back and maybe just one or two other bets from across the other competitions, which are sort of close second and third ranking. And just a reminder that the newsletter goes out tomorrow. A few weeks ago, I was going on about our great run, and we were heading for 5 in a row. Hell, I need one of these boys to make sure we don't go 3 losses in a row, because the last couple of weeks haven't gone that well. But do subscribe to our free newsletter down below if you haven't done so yet. Conductor, let me start with you. Just at this stage, your best bet of the weekend.
So, Brent, it's so tough. There's so much rugby to try and consider. I'd probably say it's a toss-up between the Cheetahs and France. I'd probably say France is my best bets. But I mean, obviously at current lines, what is the current line? At -5.5. So we can't get the I would have said
5.5, 6.5, I think.
-2.5, that would have been my best bet. But at -2.5, I'd say probably say Cheetahs is my best bet. If we can get 2.5 or 3.5.
2.5, 3.5 Cheetahs.
That Wales line maybe kicked out a bit too much to say that's the best one. But I think Cheetahs is an excellent bet there.
Yeah, I also like that Cheetahs. I've got a horrible feeling by the time the newsletter goes out tomorrow that 3.5 is going to be long gone. So I don't think that one, if it does make it, it's not going to be at the 3.5 line. I think that line will move quite quickly overnight. Chris, your best bet?
Yeah, I will also definitely go Cheetahs all over that early on the week. Still believe that, even with some of the Lions players back, I still think Cheetahs were looking good. Probably the next up will be, again, so as the Lions I've taken or what they are now, definitely France, -2. I still think they'll probably cover -4, -5, but I don't trust it because this game is often quite close. Counties at +17 was probably also my top best bet, but at +12, again, not so confident, but probably more confident than probably some of my other picks. Probably unders on the North Harbour Auckland game is probably also very strong. But my best one would be Cheetahs and France.
Right. Well, yeah, Cheetahs are getting quite a bit of support. Conductor, anything else then to add from your side? Any other bets that are knocking on the door to be best bet?
Yeah, Brent, so actually, Oracle touched on, Gav touched on it, that Scottish Georgia game is quite interesting. Georgia are going to be well up for that game because they basically want to now start putting their proposal through to start being included in Tier 1 rugby. So I can expect them to be up for it. And they probably might cover that cap. The only thing that worries me there is how much rugby their guys have actually played. I know some of their guys do play in France, etc. But if they played a little bit of rugby, I would be all over Georgia there. But I'm going to take small on Georgia on the plus there. I think they're definitely up for the game. I just saw what Brady said there. If Exeter's missing their Scottish internationals, so that's Johnny Gray, Stuart Hogg. I can't remember the other two. That's massive. I think it's the scrum off as well. That's huge for me. A guy like Stuart Hogg has been incredible for Exeter. So thanks for that, Brady. I'm gonna lump onto the Wasps tomorrow. I really think that's a golden bet. If you're missing guys like Stuart Hogg or Johnny Gray, they're very big plays for them. So that's great. Thanks for that.
I would agree with the
Wasps. Sorry, carry on, Chris.
Yeah, I also would agree. I just, to be honest, I haven't thought about it because of the position I was in, so I didn't actually do much analysis. But now that we talk about it, I would have been on Wasps because I was backing Wasps for the whole thing. But I'm now, it's probably close to my best bet as well. Probably higher than Cheetahs, I would probably say, actually. I know it sounds like
excellent. Yeah, well, it sounds like there's a lot of solid bets. I could see a lot of early money down as well. And I still think we're going to see quite a lot of line movement between now and the weekend on a number of these games. Shane just mentioning the England Barbarians game. It does seem, I think it was Brady who said earlier, that game is quite likely to be cancelled as well due to players not being available. So we won't spend any time chatting about that one. I can tell you at this point, my best bet would also be the Cheetahs. But I do like that points line of 54.5 in Nelspruit. The Stormers up against the Pumas. I'll also be having a look at what that relates to as far as Stormers line. I'm guessing Stormers around 37.5 points there or somewhere around there. I'll be looking for overs there, probably just checking out conditions as well. Orbs just coming in and saying Pumas on the plus is his best bet of the weekend. So, guys, that's it. We just went over the hour. We don't often do that. First of all, to Chris, thanks very much for coming on the show. Great having you on, and certainly hope we can have you on again sometime.
Yeah, perfect. That was great. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it, guys. It was awesome.
Excellent. So that's the Crow Tips on Twitter. If you want to follow him, I know he did pick up a couple of followers during the show already. And Conductor, great to have you back. Who knows when we'll see you again with the way Tinder is going and the dating. But good to have your input. And have a relaxing weekend. I think you need it, man.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks. Appreciate it. And it seems good thoughts. Thanks a lot, Wiki.
Cheers,
excellent, guys. Thanks very much. And thanks to all the chaps in the live chat as well. And thanks very much, Peter Paul. I must say, I did start taking a bit of strain and working up a sweat towards the end of the show. This COVID is certainly pretty hectic, but I am feeling a lot better than I was early in the week. Guys, thanks very much, and we'll see you next week for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters.